Hey, morning neighbors. It's another pollution day. Does that surprise you at all? I want to speak a little bit to history now. History of pollution, a global history, a global story. You have to go back to chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. Decades ago, science on our planet, scientists, environmental, earth sciences, chemistry, physics, atmospheric chemists, atmospheric scientists, a whole planet turned its sciences looking at our ozone layer and what was destroying it. And we learned many decades ago it was chlorofluorocarbons. So it was proven, it was known. There were decades of argument about it before that, but people talked about it and science talked about it. Media didn't so much, but finally they did. When it was decided that CFCs were destroying the ozone layer, which lets too much high energy light onto the surface of the planet and cooks life alive. It causes, this is, what's the radiation? Above ultraviolet, a little higher frequency light that you can't see that causes sunburn, causes cancers, causes cataracts. It destroys the layers on your skin so fast you can't grow the skin back fast enough. So eventually the flesh will start falling from your bones if you're exposed to too much of it. This is the minor blowback from CFC emissions destroying a part of nature. This is how big humanity was at the time. So to this fact of the sciences that we were proving very well with satellites, with aircraft flying around this circular planet, that it was decided a global treaty was required. This material was so embedded, it was your air conditioner, your refrigerator, your freezer, your air conditioner in your car. This was a prolific material manufactured by very few companies because of the cost of building a plant, hundreds of millions of dollars to manufacture CFCs for your air conditioner. So these chlorofluorocarbons, right? Fluorine's in there. Interesting shit. So the science we know of spoke to the politics we know of, and the United Nations created a global treaty everybody agreed to, that CFC pollution, everybody understood what happens if we let CFC pollution go. So a global treaty was created, and we stopped using specific CFCs, specific molecular constructs that had the ability to go and destroy ozone, the ozone layer. Now, ozone's an interesting molecule, but just go back and take a look at that. It was before most of the audience was born, probably, that CFC thing came up. So the UN created a treaty and enforced the treaty across the globe to try to reduce CFC, get rid of that particular form of chlorofluorocarbons. So Freon12. So we learned, but inside that global UN treaty was a grandfathered agreement that the world's nuclear industry could continue to use this material because it's required for separations. Those centrifuges you hear talking about, the uranium hexafluoride you might have heard talk about, those processes require these things to work. And the new designs, the new engineering is expensive. So a plant like Paducah kept on running. in spite of the global ban on CFCs, this nuclear industry across the globe, it wasn't just America, although we certainly helped in this conversation, got a grandfather clause to keep producing CFCs to support this industry, just the nuclear industry. And if you go back in history, through time, and what we've seen, there have been huge CFC releases from nuclear facilities over the years, just one a year, two a year, little nuclear accident, and CFCs all of a sudden come up in measurements somewhere. So that was the history of a planetary pollutant we knew about, and underneath that was this methane conversation, was the CO2 conversation, was the Earth biosystem conversation that people knew existed and is reality today, and thoughts and prayers won't repairs. So, there you go. A little bit about pollution history and how much we know. We know about atmospheric transport, how molecules move around in the air. We know how a balloon moves in the air very well. So, some people knew. Some people understood how to get the strength of the message behind what you're speaking to. Good luck. Thanks for listening.